Hello, this is Charles Allen, and I'm going to demonstrate and talk about how Solver and Business Central can connect to help you build reports off of your Business Central data. The first thing to know is that there are two basic ways to get started. The first way is Quick Start, which we're not going to cover in this video, but it is a wizard-based approach that enables you to walk through mapping your Business Central accounts to the Solver templates that they provide, and will automatically build the integrations and the dimensions and map all of your general ledger data to the Solver side. And so by the end of the day, you'll have your data imported, and you'll have templates that you can use against that data. The second option is more of a manual process. And the manual process can be if you wanted to pull in different types of Business Central data that Quick Start does not cover, or if you wanted to modify the integrations that Quick Start creates. So let's assume that we're just starting from scratch, and I'm going to show you here how we connect to Business Central from Solver. So what you're seeing is the Web Services window in Business Central. Web services are like queries of the data in Business Central. The system off the shelf comes with a lot of web services. But should there be a query that you don't see, there are ways to create those. They can be done by a developer. They can be done by using a tool called PopDoc, and then probably other options as well. But in this case, we're just going to use the standard queries that are already off the shelf. And so what we're going to look at here is, you'll notice we have pages, we have queries, and all sorts of good information here. So let's go back to Solver. And this is the integration area in Solver. Again, if you use Quick Start, it would do this for you, but we're going to dig behind the scenes and show you how it's done either manually or automatically. So what you see here is a task to load data from Business Central, where that data is originating, where that data is going, and then we have over here the action that enables us to control how that's going to happen. So let's take a look at the chart of accounts. We're going to click on the edit icon, and you'll see that it's pulling from an accounts query or web service called Chart of Accounts. And if we go to task mapping, you're going to see the source fields and the destination fields. And all we do is we drag from left to right. Okay? And then the ones that have green buttons are the ones that have been mapped already. Simple enough. And if we hit preview, you're going to see the data that's over here, but it's going to be shown as columns. All right, so let's close that and cancel that so we don't save it. Now these are all pretty much the same type things. They're just mapping from one place to another. Let's look at the general ledger, the actual detailed transactions. So when we come over here, you'll see we chose for this example the general ledger entries at Cell. And I chose this because the data made sense to any person who's looking at it, and we don't have to do any real translation at all. So if we go to task mapping, you're going to see, again, the sources and the destinations. And all we do is we drag from left to right and put them in those fields. These items here, you might think of as the dimension fields. So think of the Business Central dimensions, we are now saying what source dimensions are we putting in these destination dimensions. Now you'll notice that all of mine have BC, and that's just because I have a demo environment that already has things like accounts and departments and things like that. So normally you would not use BC as an identifier because you know it's BC. Then over here you'll notice we have some hard-coded information. Here we have a formula and then more fields that are mapped from here to put over here. Now, you may have data or you may have an extension installed that exposes additional information. For example, a very popular sort or a very popular extension for BC is GL source names. And what that extension does is it provides the user more information inside of Business Central. But we can also use it here in Solver. So you'll notice this O4N, these three items. So what that does is it shows vendors, customers, items, and things like that. All right, again, we can preview it, and then when we're done, we have our items. So if we go to summary, you'll notice all of our mappings right here. We can set up a schedule to run this automatically on schedule. I'm going to go ahead and get out of it without saving. You can see that I already ran it, and that data went into the data warehouse. Now, there are different approaches to report writing with Business Central. One uses a data warehouse approach. What the data warehouse does is it gives you the ability to define the data any way you want to. So if there are particular things that you need that are not in Business Central, you can add that additional information. As an example, you may have different types of reporting requirements based on who your audiences are. Internal management may want data grouped one way. Bankers may need that data mapped a different way. Auditors, yet again, even a third way. So with the data warehouse, you can add value to your data that is not in the source system. Okay, so think of your cash accounts. You may need them just summarized at a very high level for one group of people, but you may need them more detailed for a different group of people. So you can have multiple categories in your accounts within a data warehouse that are not available off the shelf in Business Central. But if you only need the data that Business Central offers and you don't need any changes to it, then a tool that reads the data directly as it creates reports may be a better solution. The other advantage of a data warehouse is if you have historical data and you want to be able to combine historical data, pre-BC data, for example, with your BC data. That way, if you want to go back and look at your data, you have the ability to do that within the reports that are in Business Central or that are within Solver. So let's take a look at the report building process. So we're going to go down to Excel. And this is an example of a detailed report. You can see over here we have our fields. This is a tool called Layout Editor, and these are the actual fields that we put into the report. How do we put them in there? We came over here and we dragged and dropped. So you notice we have department, but I might want to add grants. So what I can do is I'll come over here, I'll insert, I'll go to grants, and I'll pull that in right there. And now, if I run this, you notice I can put in and select specific accounts or departments or grants. I did put in a specific period number. Let's go ahead and hit run. And there it is. So unfortunately, it didn't look like we have any grants, but you can see that we have departments. Okay. And we can then, of course, we can write a report that groups our data by department. We can group it by account number, group it by period, really can do whatever we want to. And that's how Solver connects to Business Central for the purpose of storing data and writing reports. Thank you.